Answering your questions. That's what we decided to do today because we've been getting a lot of questions on Instagram through our DMs at Marriage Fastlane. And we thought, you know what? Let's do an episode where we answer your questions. You okay with that, baby?
I'm perfectly okay with that.
So we have some questions here. We're going to give you the best answers we can come up with, stuff that, experiences that we've lived. And I guess that we can relay that as much as possible. We'll try.
We'll try our best to answer your questions as much as possible.
And if there's anything you want us to talk about or any questions you have, whether it's about marriages, relationships, or about us, something that maybe happened or something you want to know about us, you can DM us at Marriage Fastlane, and you can write us that way. You can DM us or YouTube. So you ready for the first question?
I am. Shoot.
First question that came in, it says the 5 or 7 year itch in the relationship.
Oh, the 7-year itch. I think we could both talk a little bit about that.
It's true because we both were in previous relationships that lasted
exactly 7 years.
Oh shit.
Almost to the day.
True.
I dated my ex-fiance for 7 years before we broke up, 9 days before the wedding. And you were with your ex for a total of 7 years dating and married, right?
But from what I know about the 7-year itch, apparently it's not just in relationships, it's in jobs, it's in situations in life. They say scientifically, there's been research that says the happiness starts to dwindle after 7 years. I don't know. This question says the
I really wonder why that happens. And
I don't
why
know.
Is it a psychological thing?
Yeah.
That affects people, relationships, or in their workplace. I just don't understand. Yeah. Why 7 years?
I'm thinking about it. I've never done anything more than 7 years. I never had a job longer than 7 years or a relationship. My last radio station I left at almost exactly 7 years. I've been with, how long we been together?
Almost 5. And apparently there's a 5-year itch that exists too, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes into play. And
I don't know.
If you try Googling that, you're not going to get as much as you are on the 7 year.
I think the 7-year itch is more popular, more talked about.
So, well, what can we say about that to add on? I mean, if I don't think about it, the more you stress over, we're in our 7th year, is something going to happen? I think then it's just going to get in your head, right? I think it's wrong to even think about that. But anything else you want to add on that 7-year itch?
Not really. Just don't think about it and enjoy your relationship, enjoy your workplace. It's true. So does that mean I'm doomed?
Yeah, we got 2 years left.
We got 2 years left, and then what happens?
I don't know.
I need to worry in our 7th year?
No,
I hope not.
For Christ's sake. But I guess it is just a reminder, and we're already starting to experience that now with kids. Try to keep things fresh, spontaneous. Always find time to date.
Do
kids
date
are not
nights. Even put the kids to bed early, like we do sometimes, and put them to bed early. Put them to bed and then eat dinner alone. And I know a lot of couples that have young children that are starting to do that, especially during these challenging times we're experiencing. And why not treat ourselves to little mini date nights, or even bringing the kids to the in-laws? You know, so you can have even a day date.
Exactly.
Spend some time together, rekindle that romance. Yeah. Make sure it never fades, and spend time together to talk and to be intimate, and just have a chance even just to talk without distractions of the children or the day-to-day life, right?
We spoke to friends of ours who said every Saturday night now during the pandemic, once they put their kids down, they crack open a bottle of wine, they put some music on and some candles.
Wow, that sounds so romantic.
Yeah, look, if you can do that once a week, that will just keep that flame going. They've been together for like 12 years. So you know what? You got to keep it fresh and spontaneous. It's a lot easier said than done, but you got to put some effort in that. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, these are your questions that we got at Marriage Fastlane on Instagram. The next one just says money. It just has
so vague. So much you could talk about with money.
It just says one word, money. Clearly, that hasn't been a huge issue for us. We never really,
maybe at the beginning of our relationship, because we did everything so fast.
Do I stress over money more than you? Yeah.
Yes. You're the type that's always looking at your bank statements. You go through every single one of them every day.
I'm a bit anal like that.
Your credit card is to date because you have been hacked in the past.
That's another reason why I highly encourage you to check your statements and stuff. But I guess we're just different like that. For me, it's more top of mind, and you're scrolling on your phone like, oh, what can I order?
Like sometimes I forget. No. And when I do order something, most of the times I order myself and I pay for it from my credit card.
I know.
Except for the occasional when I know that you have Amazon Prime and I'm like, I really need this now, and Amazon's got a better price. Can I order some stuff for our girls? And then, I'll slip in a little something for me, or, buy some other stuff.
Speaking of money, and this was always a conversation that we haven't had in a while about putting everything into one account. And we don't have that. We have a joint account. We have our own accounts. It's something that you were kind of pushing for at one point. You haven't brought it up in a while. And I was like, do we really need to? I kind of like our situation now. It is kind of nice. Like we have a joint that we pay the mortgage off and we put money into.
Everything to do with the kids and the house goes through one account. Yeah. And we do have power of attorney over each other's personal bank accounts. So that's also reassuring. Yeah. But I do kind of still like the idea of having everything in one pot and each of us having access to it, and we can both follow how much is coming in and what's going out, what's being paid, so sometimes I still think that the traditional way of just couples combining all their income in one place can be beneficial because each partner can keep track.
Can access it. And you say power of attorney means if something should happen to one of us, the other one automatically has power to
go into the account and withdraw money.
Yeah. Now, you see, the issue I have is like, what if something should happen to that bank? Because we're with different banks. Like, I'm part of a different bank completely that I had before I met you that I've kept. I always worry, like, if something should happen to the bank where we're all our marbles, all in one basket.
What are the chances of that actually happening?
I know.
I can't believe you're actually thinking of that.
I'm not. It just came up.
That never crossed our minds before.
I just thought about it
today.
But in terms of money, honestly, you got to be transparent with each other. If ever you have a somewhat of a big purchase, just be honest. And like I buy some equipment, stuff that we're using to record this. We don't need permission, but it's more like, hey, listen, I'm buying this. It's $900, just so you know. Like, so this,
and I'll be okay. This is your money, your hard work earned money. Yeah. So spend it on stuff that you need. And you would tell me the same. And and I think we're both lucky that we're both not big spenders.
Yeah, we're good savers.
Always have been. I think that's a skill that my parents have taught me from when I was young to always put money aside for a rainy day. So
and don't fight about stupid things about like who's paying when you go out for dinner and all this shit. It just becomes chaotic.
The man has to pay.
Yeah, I know. I still do. I don't know. It's the old school.
No. That's very old fashioned.
I know, but I still.
It's nice at the beginning of the relationship when you picked up the bill, but then eventually I got annoyed and I was like, I make my own money. I could pay for dinner or outings.
We were dating about 3 weeks. I remember we went to Disney on Ice and then we went to La Belle La Boeuf for lunch, and that was the time you paid first. You said, I got this, babe. I'm like, no, you don't have to. You're like,
really
please.
Wanted to. I felt the need to have to pay for that dinner.
At this point, we've gone out for dinners and coffees and stuff, and you were like, I'm paying.
Yeah.
I'm paying, which that was nice of you. So I appreciate that. And
of course.
So again, these are questions. We'll move on to the next one. These are questions we've gotten on Instagram, on our Instagram page at Marriage Fastlane. Again, any questions, let us know. Next one is, living together, do you need alone time?
That's always a good question.
A great question. Yeah. I'm trying to think back to when we moved in with each other. I'm trying to think like pre-kids, because now, once you have kids, it changes. But even before we had kids, I feel like I'm more of the type of person who needs the alone time, a little more.
Yeah, you do. And you know what? Because of your hours, you always spend a good chunk of the day home by yourself, no distractions. I would be at work sometimes till 5, 6 o'clock at night. So you had a lot of chances to be alone.
But now as a mother, you wish you had more alone time.
I crave more alone time. And I talk to my friends who are in the same boat as us, and the women always say they feel like they're running around during the day with their heads cut off and they never get 2 minutes to themselves. And
I feel bad for you.
And I'm going to pull that back to when, we've talked to or got into arguments in the past about being on our phones.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't have time during the day to catch up on the news or whatever's going on in the world or on social media.
So instead of kind of talking to me, it's almost better you're alone with your phone.
Yeah, but you give me all the updates I need to know. But then there's others that I want to know too. So I need a bit of the alone time too. I'm actually an only child. So I've always been used to having time to myself. My parents were out working and I'd be home alone the whole day or studying.
But I find that's why you almost want to be around people more.
That too, yes.
Because you didn't have it as much.
I crave being around other people.
Yeah.
You and I are very social beings.
Yeah.
And we like hanging out with friends and family.
But I feel you crave it more than I do, because I'm the type who can just be like, all right, I'm going to stay home and just, oh, you're going out with your friends tonight, babe? This is before kids. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stay home, watch a movie in my sweatpants.
I can't believe that. I would
don't
go
know.
with my friends and feel guilty that you're home alone doing nothing. But then I realized that you enjoyed it and wanted to sit back and watch a movie or watch something that I wouldn't exactly want to sit and watch with you. And you had that chance.
So find things that interest you that you can do alone. And we highly encourage it, because that makes you miss your partner, makes you want to be with them more.
Even more, yes.
Exactly. Plus, it recharges you. If you have a avid social life, obviously right now that's all kind of on hold. But if you have a lot of events and stuff, I've realized when I have those recharge nights, man, the next night I'm like, okay, bring it on. I want to go do something. I want to go dance. I want to go out. I want to go to a restaurant.
Yeah. The days when we were able to do that.
I know.
But it's also important for couples who also have activities, their own activity, who likes to go to the gym or play a sport or do dance lessons or whatever it may be, arts and crafts. It's important that you continue and do those activities, even in a relationship, in a marriage, or even when you have children.
Yeah.
Because it's important. Like you play hockey once a week and
go to the gym
a couple times a week. Yeah. And I encourage that, because even the time apart, I miss you.
Yeah, it's nice to miss each other. No, it's important. I've been in relationships where we were together too much all the time, to the point where we barely were seeing friends, and that to me is the worst thing. And I know sometimes getting alone time, if you live in a condo or an apartment where you have like 700 square feet, but in that situation, then try to go for the walks, or try to arrange like one maybe goes out with friends and you get the place to yourself. I think that's extremely, extremely important. So hopefully we answered your question on that. Any more to add? Anything else?
No.
We have one last question.
I miss it.
Yeah, I know.
I miss my alone time.
That's what happens.
I miss just wanting to get into the car whenever I want and going shopping or going wherever I have to go. I lost a lot of my independence, but that's because we have children. It's a different ballgame. But even before we had kids, it's very important. We can highlight it and encourage it more.
That's one thing about mothers more than fathers. It's like you almost lose your identity to a certain degree. Right. A little bit. It's a real shame. It sucks.
I've been a stay-at-home mom for over 2 years now.
And everybody just asks about your kids, how your kids, how the kids.
I get forgotten about. I never get asked, Tina, how are you? I can maybe think of a handful of people who actually take the time and be like, so how are you?
I know.
How Sia and Maya, how are you doing? Are you tired? Are you sleeping? Are you eating? Like, are you taking time for yourself? So I think mothers appreciate when someone takes the time to care about the parent, the mother.
I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I call you after work. I'm like, so how are the kids? It's like automatic. It's like automatic, right? You want to know how they're doing.
But then you come home and you're like, so babe, how are you? How's the morning? Did you sleep well?
That's right.
You're very good at that. I admire that about you. I do.
So last question. This is a longer one, and we got this as a DM the other day, and I think it's definitely speaks volume to us, and it's actually directed to you, babe.
Oh, okay.
Because of what you went through. So I'm going to start with Tina. I wonder how you got through being dumped so close to the wedding date. You're so happy now, but I wonder how you got through that. I was in a 15-year marriage that recently fell apart, so I need some help on that. And if you missed it, Tina, she was engaged. This is in 2014, and then he broke it off. I guess we could say he did. 9 days before the wedding. 9 days
before the wedding.
So what do you think? How do you get over it? I mean, I went through it too, but I'll let you answer the question first, because what you went through was.
Wow, that's a great question. And I think the simple answer is I was extremely, extremely lucky to have the social support that I have.
Yeah.
I have a huge family, lots of friends, great colleagues.
You do.
I mean, news went around really quickly that morning when everyone found out that I was dumped and that the wedding was called off. And within hours, not even hours, within minutes, what am I saying? I had people showing up at my parents' house just to come and help console me. Just the night that the day after we broke up, there was maybe 30 people in my house that same night from family that came from all different parts of the city.
Pretty amazing.
And friends that like literally rushed home from work to come and see me, just to hug me and or cry with me or try to make me laugh. And you know, I was, I'll never forget that night because there was so many people at my house, and even my parents felt like overwhelmed with the support and the love. I remember at one point I was on my bed with 4 or 5 of my girlfriends. We were just sitting down on my bed, and we had my little cousin who was maybe about Maya's age, and we were playing with the baby. And just trying to, the girls were just trying to distract me and just trying to make me feel better. And it was nice to get all that love.
I think it's important that you need to stress how the next few months evolve.
Yes, of course. I'm just talking about the immediate of the trauma that I experienced, but how lucky I was to have all the support and my parents continuously supporting me throughout the journey during the lead up to the breakup and afterwards. What did I do? I mean, I never sulked.
That's the thing. You didn't sulk.
I stayed home for a few days because the breakup happened like on a Thursday. So I took the Thursday, Friday off from work, and I went back to work on Monday, got a lot of support and love from my colleagues, and everyone like felt bad. But then anyway, I never sulked. I never felt like my life had just ended. Yeah. I honestly, even the night that we broke up, I felt like there was this huge weight lifted off my shoulder because I knew that this was the right thing to do, was to not be together, to not get married. And I always thank God that I didn't get dumped at the altar, because I think that was my biggest fear. And that would have maybe made the coping process a little bit harder because it would have been way more traumatic. Embarrassing. Say the least, So because the breakup happened before the altar, I think I'm a very strong person. I always stayed optimistic.
Wait, how long did it take before you went on dates again?
Not that long. Maybe 2 months.
That's pretty good, because there are people who would even wait longer. I want to be single for a
I think I want to say give or take a month and a half, 2 months before I started dating some guys. I even considered going on dating sites. I kind of made a profile on Match.com, but I never exposed it. So I was just able to see the guys and scroll through, but I never really was ready to embark on online dating. I didn't think it was for me. But anyway, I ended up meeting a couple of guys, including the guy I dated for a year following my breakup with my ex-fiance. So I just decided to keep myself busy.
That's the thing. You didn't lock yourself in a room.
No. There was none of that. There was
people who do that.
There was no time for that. And I refused. Absolutely refused.
Time wasted.
To waste. And it was the summer. We broke up at the end of May. I'm like, I ain't going to waste my summer sulking over a guy who I knew that this ended up being the right decision at the end of the day. And he did me the biggest favor. Until this day, I thank him for doing that. As hard as it was in the moment.
I thank him too.
Yeah, of course. Led me to you.
Yeah.
And the other loser that I dated in between. So I just decided to pick myself up, go out, have fun with my friends, my family, and I just wanted to believe that I was going to find love again, and I did. Took a bit of time, took another heartbreak, but it eventually led me to you.
So stay positive, stay optimistic, even though it's really hard.
And surround yourself with people
that you love,
and that will support you throughout the breakup, because it's super important. And I knew I could have always counted on anyone in my family or my friends, if I were to call, if I were to show up at their houses, that the door was always open. Yeah. You know, and they always tried to make time for me. I can name 10 of my friends who always made time for me.
I know, and you go out of your way for everybody too. So I think it was nice that everybody definitely reciprocated. They did. I'm very lucky. And I love all my friends and family. The weeks and months after the breakup, I gotta say, I'm very fortunate. And I know not everyone has the same social support. I know.
And it's unfortunate, but that plays a huge role in how someone is going to mentally cope with a huge loss, a huge breakup, a huge life-changing experience. And maybe I can throw the question out to you. How did you cope with your divorce? That you can relate more with this listener, with this person who wrote to you, because you both have divorce as a common denominator.
Yours was practically a divorce.
I call it my premarital divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the running joke.
But I think, I don't know if this is a man-woman thing. I wanted to be like antisocial for a little while. I didn't want to. I was like not really talking, maybe like a month and a half. I would kind of just stuck to myself, even though I had to go do a radio show every day. But other than that, I used to stay home. I was back home with my mother. I don't recommend this, but it depends what type of person you are. I just was I need some time alone. I need to kind of rethink things. Did I make a huge mistake? But at the same time, trying to look forward, being like, I'm still young, or it doesn't matter what age you are really, because love has no age and all that. But I'm like, okay, there's got to be love out there, but I need a bit of time. So I just tried to find entertainment in like shows and TV and watching sports. And I saw my friends here and there, not that much. I would vent to my mother a little bit, and she would listen. And then about 2 months later, I decided to go to an event, and that's when I met you, and then everything changed. But it goes to show you that at least when I went out that night, I said, okay, I got to go out. I got to get back out there. I got to live. There's still a lot of life to live. Life goes on. So if anything, I learned to just be positive. And then when I met you, I'm like, oh,
this is what it's supposed to be like. Thank you.
So stay positive.
And I gotta admire, you went on the radio every single day
with a smile.
With a smile.
You have to.
Nobody knew you were going through a divorce, and
not
that
at the time,
you had moved out of your ex's condo, and that you broke up even on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, officially, I guess, even though it was kind of months in the making.
Yeah, of course, because that's the paperwork. Involved. But
listen, that's my job. I don't know. I was never one to. I didn't want to make people's days shittier. But
it's admirable that you were able to put all that aside, and the show must go on.
Being a professional.
We were professional on air, and it wasn't until maybe a month after you and I started dating that you went on air and told everybody that you had ended your marriage and met me, and you always wear your heart on your sleeve. And
I think it's important that we do that, and I think it's important that more men do that. And if there's any message that I've been trying to send on the radio for almost 15 years now, is that more men need to be in touch with their sensitive side. And it's okay. I talk about how I cry all the time.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Women appreciate that.
I know.
It doesn't emasculate men.
But there's a lot of men who are afraid to admit things. Be vulnerable. I think showing your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses is going to make you more relatable, and it's going to connect you more with people. So I think my message out there is to any men is just, it's okay. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. We all go through shit. We all go through trouble in our life. And when
we all have our own ways of coping through difficulties in our life.
And when I opened up about the divorce, I couldn't believe how many people have gone through divorce. So many people were coming out of the woodwork. I was married, like the message we got, and we're talking about 15 years. People were married 15, 20 years. They would get divorced. And then 6 months later, they would meet this person, and then they've been together for like 10, 15, but they're so happy. They're so much more happy than they were with the person prior to that.
But it's hard to see that when you're in the relation, in the moment. Because in the moment, you say, oh my God, my life is doomed. Yeah. Who's going to want to,
normal feeling.
Who's going to want to be with me? I'm divorced. Yeah. I had failed relationships. And that went through my mind too, especially after. Normal. So, I ended, my ex-fiance broke up with me. Then I had another, year relationship that went sour, and I looked at myself and I said, I'm 30 years old. Who's gonna want me now? Right? And I think a lot of people ask themselves, like, I'm garbage. Damaged goods. Yes, damaged goods. But clearly, I realized that there's men out there, and I can tell you, being a woman, that there was men who didn't care that I was engaged, didn't care that I had long-term relationships, didn't care how many people I was with or dated, and clearly didn't care you didn't care either, because you asked for my number and we hit it off.
And you didn't care that I was getting a divorce.
I didn't care you were getting a divorce. You just told me, okay, I'm going to the notary, or I'm going to see the lawyer on March 7th. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. Now we could talk.
I thought being in my early 30s, being divorced was going to be like, every time I'd meet somebody, they'd be like, "Oh, wait, he's already divorced. Like, what did he do wrong?" That's what goes through. That was
That
going
went
through
my
my
mind too.
right?
It'd
It's
be
only
like,
normal.
of course.
But you clearly there's a lot of people out there who've had broken engagements, divorces. There's people with 2-3 kids getting divorced in their 40s, and then they just stay positive.
Stay positive.
Trust me. Trust us.
If you really want love, you will find it.
That's it.
Love will
Be
find
open
you.
to it.
Be open to it. Be open-minded. Be positive. We can't stress it enough, because if you're gonna end up sulking or just being negative and pessimistic, or just you
bring the energies that you put out.
Exactly.
I believe that. So.
Yeah.
That was great. Those were great questions.
Yeah,
and
great questions.
We thank you for them. We should do that again, where we answer more questions
Yes.
with people. So.
Marriage, relationships, children.
Yeah.
Just anything you want to know
That's it.
about you and I, about our marriage,
Yeah.
or about our pasts.
Let us know.
Let us know. Yes.
Write to us at Marriage Fastlane. That was another episode. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ciao.